Hey everyone! Ever wonder how top companies maintain a perfect look and feel across dozens of different brands? The secret is a multi-brand design system. Stick around, because we're about to break down exactly how you can build one to supercharge your design process. Let's jump right in.
We're going to demystify multi-brand architecture, fix those Figma variable nightmares, and build a system that actually scales elegantly.
Here's the game plan for this explainer. We'll start by diagnosing the enterprise scaling nightmare, then identify your core brand paradigm. After that, we'll break down the three-tier token architecture, learn how to avoid common variable mistakes, automate your white label workflow, and finally, look at the staggering ROI of architectural discipline. Let's get right to it.
Section 1. The Enterprise Scaling Nightmare. One skeleton, infinite skins.
The philosophy we're adopting today is simple, but honestly, it's profound. Separate your structure from your skin. You have to think of your interface in two halves. First is the structure, the core. This is your HTML, your reactive view logic, your RE accessibility tags, your focus management. Because, a button is a button, regardless of what logo is slapped on the web page. Your core engineering team should maintain just one underlying codebase for this structure. Then you have the skin. This is your theme, the typography, border radii, colors, shadows. The absolutely crucial point here is that when brand A wants square buttons and brand B wants pill-shaped buttons, you do not write new code. You simply inject a different theme over the exact same structural skeleton.
Moving to Section 2. Branded house versus house brands. Identifying your core paradigm.
Before you build anything, you absolutely must audit your brands to diagnose your architectural approach. Let's use the Coca-Cola Company as a real-world example. First, you have a branded house. Think Coke, Diet Coke, and Coke Zero. They share roughly the same core layouts with just minor color iterations between them. Maybe a button background switches from red to black to gray. This setup fits beautifully into one single Figma file using variable modes. But conversely, you have a house of brands. Think Coca-Cola versus Sprite or Powerade. Sprite has completely different typography and a totally distinct visual language. Trying to squeeze a true house of brands into a single variable library in Figma, yeah, that's a recipe for disaster. The structural needs just differ too much. You almost always need to break them into separate files that reference a master foundation.
Section 3. The three-tier token architecture, the blueprint for theming at scale.
Listen, this is the absolute engine of multi-brand theming. You just can't achieve scale by hard-coding hex values into your components. You have to use a highly structured three-tier token system. Step 1. Global tokens. These are your raw materials, your base hex codes in their absolute purest form, like your raw reds and blues. Step 2. Semantic tokens. Now this is where the magic happens. We stop describing what a color is and start describing its intent. Step 3. Component tokens. This assigns that specific intent to a specific property, like a button background or a border color.
Think about how that middle semantic layer operates. Our universal semantic token is color action primary. This is the universal language your entire team speaks. But notice the mapping. Brand A maps that token to blue 500, while brand B maps the exact same token to red 500. The component just asks for the primary action color, and the system delivers the correct hex code based on the active brand mode. Industry leaders like the Volkswagen Group use this exact token architecture to power the digital interfaces for VW, Audi, Porsche, and Skoda, all from one core codebase.
All right, Section 4. Avoiding common variable mistakes. The tough love consultant intervention.
Okay, I'm putting my tough love consultant hat back on for a minute because I see enterprise teams make the same catastrophic variable hygiene mistakes over and over. Does this sound familiar? Wait, why did my text just turn red? You build this beautiful system for your primary brand, everything looks great. Then you add your second brand into Figma, you swap the mode, and suddenly all your paragraph text turns into your primary brand color? No way.
The solution to this nightmare is the neutral token scale. This is a dedicated alias collection strictly used for typography and neutral structural elements. What happens is designers mistakenly link their text variables directly to their primary brand scale because, hey, in brand A, the primary color might be dark gray. But when brand B's primary scale is red, your text turns red. You must always introduce an independent neutral token scale to ensure text variables are completely decoupled from primary brand colors.
Let's run through some rapid-fire guardrails for variable hygiene. 1. Never duplicate absolutely identical blacks across global scales. We'll actually dig into that more in just a second. 2. Always tie text to neutral tokens, as we just discussed. 3. Error states can safely share the primary red scale.
Meaning, if Coke Classic's primary brand color is red, it's totally fine to use that exact same global red scale for your air states across all your other brands. You don't need to duplicate a red scale just to arbitrarily separate them. And 4, if you're attempting a house of brands swap, every single variable structure must be identical. Otherwise, the swap will just break your component.
And to really expand on that first point, if your black is identical across brands, you don't need 2 scales. It's a rookie mistake. I see designers creating a gray brand 1 scale and a gray brand 2 scale, even though the hex codes for the darkest colors are virtually identical. For instance, Coke Zero's core brand color is a very dark gray, almost black. Diet Coke uses a slightly lighter gray. But their darkest structural blacks are essentially the exact same hex code. Please, don't clutter your global collection. Keep it simple. Combine them into one global foundation scale and separate them out only when you get to that semantic alias layer.
Section 5. Automating the white label workflow, from design to production code.
So how do we actually get these design decisions out of Figma and into production safely? Because maintaining multiple themes manually in CSS is a huge recipe for disaster. Instead, you need an automated developer handoff workflow. Step 1. Designers export their JSON token data directly from Figma. Step 2. The engineering team processes that JSON using an industry-standard tool like Amazon Style Dictionary or Token Studio. Step 3. That tool automatically generates platform-specific code, CSS custom properties for the web, Swift for iOS, XML for Android, for each specific brand, instantly.
Now, if you're building a system designed to be white-labeled and customized by external clients, you have to enforce these technical guardrails. First, build completely agnostic component layouts. Don't rely on a specific brand's custom iconography or font line heights, or your layout's going to break the second a client injects a different font. Second, always maintain a fallback vanilla or base theme. If a client forgets to define a specific token, the system should gracefully fall back to the base theme rather than, rendering a transparent broken button. Finally, automated CI/CD contrast checking is absolutely crucial. When you let clients inject their own primary colors, you risk breaking WCAG accessibility standards. Your automated pipeline should calculate contrast ratios between text and background tokens and throw an error immediately if they fail.
Finally, Section 6, the ROI of Architectural Discipline, the business value of a scalable core. Building a multi-brand system like this requires a massive upfront investment in rigor and token logic. But I want you to consider this scenario. When the core team fixes a bug in the drop-down menu, that fix deploys instantly to 10 different brands. That right there is the holy grail. When marketing acquires a new brand, launching their digital presence becomes an exercise of configuring a JSON theme file rather than hiring an entirely new team of front-end developers to rebuild the wheel. The business value is undeniable. It's exponential time savings.
So I'm going to leave you with this final provocative question. Is your design system built to scale or built to fail? If you're out there duplicating components, hard-coding hex values, and just crossing your fingers every time you swap themes, it's time to rethink your architecture. Implement that 3-tier token system, clean up your variable hygiene, and separate your structure from your skin. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I highly recommend going and doing an audit of your own design tokens today. Catch you next time.